Let's come back. Any other questions about the original topic, which is how to take this back into the real world, not the atolls that are 8 hours from everything else? That's another question. That's another topic.
What about, okay, so people, like other natural hygiene groups of people, or people who are raw, or who have a lot of knowledge about food and nutrition, and who, like for example my mother, who may be concerned about fruitarianism or think. So,
they don't have to do it.
Yeah.
So your question is what? How do you?
Yeah. So like sharing meals with, or having discussions with people who care about you, who might be concerned.
Well, that's going to be almost everybody you know. I mean, almost everyone in the real world is going to be concerned about you if you tell them you're only eating fruit and salad. Most people are going to think it's insane, whether they know anything about raw food or don't know anything about raw food. Most people are going to think it's crazy. So what I would do is I would tell them, let me share with you an experience I actually had. Okay? When I decided to go raw, I was about 165 pounds. I'm about 145 pounds now. I had been as much as 173 or so earlier, but I was down to about 165 at that point. I already made some changes to my diet. Decided I was going to give up all cooked food. And I may have told you the story, but I'll tell you briefly again. I've told this many times before. I was at a friend's house. We were listening to music. He's actually the chef who teaches at the Académie de Cuisine. We were at his house listening to music in the basement, and I walked up the stairs in front of him. We were done, and he looked at me and said, "Loren, where's your ass?" I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, you don't have an ass anymore." And I went into his bathroom, looking in the mirror, going, "Holy crap, you're right." And you know, I didn't have a full-length mirror. I had a little mirror in the bathroom that I shaved in every morning. I have told some of you guys this before, perhaps, but because I'd suffered from irritable bowel syndrome for several years, I didn't wear belts. I didn't wear tight pants. All my pants were big on purpose. They were loose on purpose. And I wore suspenders. I actually had buttons sewn, and I wore braces that buttoned in all my pants, even my blue jeans, because tight things were very uncomfortable, because I always felt bloated and terrible all the time for years. So, you know, most people can tell because their clothes don't fit the same way anymore, or because their scale says they're getting on the scale all the time, or because how they look in the mirror. I didn't have a full-length mirror. I didn't have a scale. I didn't have tight-fitting clothes. I didn't really realize how much weight I'd lost. I didn't pay that much attention to how I looked. I mean, I really didn't. I wasn't paying that much attention. And until my friend told me, and he had a bathroom scale. So I went and got on a scale, and I was 128 pounds. I was like, oh crap. And you know, my family had been giving me a hard time. And now I sort of understood why. And so it was a short time later, my father and stepmother had this beautiful apartment overlooking the ocean in Delaware. And we would all meet there for these big family weekends. So sleep around 12 people there. And if there was enough of us coming, we'd sometimes rent additional units. In fact, my sister wound up buying one across the street. So sometimes there'd be 25 of us there for the weekend. And one weekend, the whole family's there, and everyone's giving me a hard time about how skinny I am, and trying to get me to eat more other stuff. You know, eat this, have one of these. Oh, come on, it won't hurt you. And I sat them all down. I said, you know, folks, I'd like to speak to everybody. Can you all please be here at 11 o'clock? And I sat everybody down, and I said, listen, I know you guys love me, and I know that all of your comments about what I'm eating and how I look are based on your concern. I realize that. But I'm a big boy now. I was 30 years old. Okay? I'm a big boy. I can make my own choices. Like, I understand your concerns. I don't really care what your opinions are, though. I've already made up my mind. This is what I'm doing. And I'm asking you to respect my decision. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not going to harass you about what you're eating. You'll do whatever you want. But I'm asking you to leave me alone. Because if you keep harassing me, I'm not going to come to family events anymore. Like, it's no fun for people to be harassing me all the time. And that's how it feels to me. So please keep your comments to yourself. I get, you know, I'm skinny, I get that. I feel better than I've felt in a long time, and I believe my body is going to rebuild when it's ready to, and I'm not worried about it. I feel amazingly well. Okay? So I appreciate your concerns, but you know, please leave me alone. Please respect this. And that was the last I heard of it. So again, you know, I spoke my truth as lovingly and gently as I could, and I asked them to respect it, and that's what happened. And that's what I would do. You know, whether it's your mother or whoever, your best friend, I would say, listen, I realize you may not agree with this, but how old are you?
Me, 37.
I believe that's old enough to make your own choices. Okay, 37, you're almost a woman now. Okay? You know, so your mother doesn't have to agree. Like, you don't have to have everybody agreeing with you. I would say, Mom, I understand you don't agree with this. I understand you believe it's different. But, and again, I mean, if you feel good, yeah, so you're going to stick with the 6-week plan, right? I mean, you can say, Mom, I'm on a protocol. I spent all this money. This is part of the protocol. Right? For 6 weeks, that's the deal. This is what I have to do. That's easy. After that, at the end of 6 weeks, if you feel great, you can say, Mom, I still feel great. I understand you feel you have different ideas, but this makes sense to me, and I feel so good. I'm going to keep doing this, and if it changes, I can always reassess at any point in time. But right now, it feels great. Why would I do that? Okay.
Okay.